Hello, welcome to the Loudland. It's me, Khandie. It is not 5 a.m. You'll be very pleased to know. And I'm like, oh, not 5 a.m. Fabulous. Let's get on to an episode. Because I want to say something that I don't think I think we're talking about it, but we're a little bit, we're like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like things are changing, Candy. I don't know what's happened. And I'm like, it's okay. Don't worry. We can talk about it. So I want to talk about what has happened to photography. Okay. I don't think photography is dying. I think photography is very confused, and I think the community has kind of started to lose a bit of clarity, and things have started to wobble. People are questioning pricing, expectations. There's trust, there's respect, and because right now, I think if you ask 10 photographers what they think photography is, you'll probably get 10 different answers. If you ask 10 clients what they think they're paying for, half of them won't even know. And that right there is probably the issue we're talking about. I think we have a lot of we get stuck in a lot of surface level arguments. And I know, like, you'll see them online. I don't know, let me think of some film versus digital, candid versus pose, authentic versus edited, street photography, is it art or whatever? And all these debates are just symptoms of what the real problem is. I don't think there is a shared understanding of what photography is for anymore. Is it for documentation, art, marketing, content, or memory? Because it depends on who you ask, because it is all of them, in my opinion. And when something tries to be everything, it can lose its identity. I want to do some real examples here. Now, I love photography, you know that, right? But it used to be back in the good old days that photography was kind of elusive art. It was everyone's like, I don't know how to take decent photos, I don't know how to do this. Now the world of social media has opened that up so everyone can learn. And I think I got told once that in this country, for there's someone has a professional camera every fifth person. So that's quite a lot of cameras going on. You know, not even talking about the ones on your phone. Like, ugh. But I want to give some examples where things have changed, okay? So let's talk about wedding photography. I'm a wedding photographer. When I first started in wedding photography, it was all about documenting the day, creating these moments, and having these great albums, right? Now, I would say post-COVID, definitely post-COVID, people are talking about content. You've got couples asking for behind the scenes footage, reels on the day, content creators following photographers and videographers around. And that's what I'm thinking. Are you there to capture what happened or create moments that perform well online? Because these are not the same jobs. I've seen photographers shift into directing, staging, even interrupting moments, all in the name of getting that shot. I have seen footage of photographers while the couple are having vows running up and adjusting the groom so that he looks better in their shots, forgetting the memories, forgetting, like, oh God, this is about them. We need to get what looks good in the images. And we've kind of forgotten this is a very sacred time to, they're saying their vows, they're in front of others. But yet no one is, like, in a couple of mad, but sometimes audiences are, I will admit. I've seen the comments, but it's all about getting that shot. Are we documenting memories or are we now manufacturing them? And I have to say, I don't know. Some weddings are a balance of both. Some weddings are not. Some of them feel like it's all about getting the content. And part of me, I'm going to say it. I don't. I do content creation for weddings, but I do sit there and wonder at times. Do you really need a whole other person doing that for you? Is your social media so created? Is it so important to you that you want that? Is that what you want? Do you want phone pictures? Do you want? I mean, I don't understand what, and especially when some of them cost as much as a photographer. And I'll be honest, the couple that have followed me around have been amazing. And then there's been quite a few who've gone with me and they literally just shoot over my shoulder. So I'm like, what are you doing? I'm doing the go create, if you're creating content, go create your own content. Now I have a social media analytical background. So I'm like, go create your own content. This is what I'm creating. Go create. Oh no, they're just people with phones sometimes. I mean, there are some people who have, like, if I was going to hire a content creator, like, seriously, I would be like, show me what your education is. Show me how you've managed to get images that convert. Show me what your retention is of people watching reels. Like, show me. Instead, I'm going to get really ranty about this. I did a wedding not too long ago, and I have to be very careful so I don't out this person, but this entire content creator did not stop bugging the videographer. The videographer was there doing the long form content, right? She was doing, and every time he set something up, she was pushing him back so she get the shot. And the guy said to her, I'm going to tell you once, do not do that again to me. I've set up this shot for my thing. I've created it. Go do your own thing with them. Okay. Go shoot the guests. Go do it. But we're doing this. And the bride and groom got really annoyed at the content creator because she was replicating what we were already doing. So what bride or groom wants to have the same images constantly? It's not how it works. So what happened was she went off to do something and she couldn't do anything. She was just, like, filming people chinking glasses and they were like, okay, what else did you get for us? Nothing. And I'm like, there are some amazing content creators out there for weddings who do really cute videos. They work really hard. But for the most part of what I'm seeing, it's just people who think they're good with an iPhone. And I know I'm going to get hated on that. But I do it and I literally will do all these cute detail shots, transitions and stuff. But for God's sake, no. I haven't worked with some great ones, by the way. Just they're few and far between, it seems. And I just watch them. I mean, honestly, I thought this photographer was just gonna like put down his camera and walk off set at one point because, like, oh, it was bad. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to branding. Okay. So that's something I do quite a lot of. Branding photography has definitely gone through a major shift. And I will say I have seen this for myself. It used to be, I need some pretty pictures of myself for my website, Khandie. I'll be like, yeah, 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 cool, cool. Now, I started probably just before COVID, really sitting down with clients, doing questionnaires with them and sort of saying, hey, what are the products by the way, so rob this idea. What products are you looking to sell in this quarter? Are you wanting these images to go beyond this quarter? Are you wanting to have them maybe last the whole year? Is there something you want to sell? Is there a particular platform you're on? It's a very different and I'll be honest, very completely different expectation now. I'm no longer just a photographer. Now I do, as I said, have that background in analytics. So now I want to understand their audience behavior. I know that I'm shooting for multiple platforms. I want to create content that converts for them because again, I'm not just selling photos, I'm selling them a little bit of strategy because clients are starting to expect to have both, even though they're only paying for the one, which is why one, I can put my prices up because I have that little bit of education and I have a proven track record. So what I tend to do, and I'm going to tell you guys to do this, get the core images, like the evergreen, the ones that are just headshots of them that they can just use all the time, the grey background one, or, the cliche holding the mug looking off in the middle distance that they all seem to still want. And I cringe when I have to do it, but you do them. And then you get the ones that are very bespoke and to them. So with the hairdresser, I did her session where we got the ones that like everyone does, where they're holding the scissors out. I hate that shot, but I know people love it, so you do it for the client. And then because her brand is more outgoing and quirky, if you like, I hate that word as well, but quirky, more unique. She's not like every hairdresser hot. She's very colourful. She's very 90s aesthetic leading as well. We did a lot of shots with a 90s vibe on it. We actually shot some of the images on an old 90s camera as well to like really, rather than try and fake it later on, we did it. We used wide angles to get her like a massive head and a small body while she was working. We also did ones where we made cocktails where we had the mousse in the glass and then like the cocktail stick was the tail comb. I can't remember everything we did. And we did some cooler imagery that kind of stood out and was very unique to her. Because we want those images to convert and we wanted to tell a bit more of a story. By all means, please go look at that. Um, it's, try get that core, but then definitely try and get something creative. And I think it's the more creative work that will get you more clients booked in. Honestly, it will. Then there's the whole debate about street photography. And I know this is kicking off everywhere right now, particularly on TikTok. And I've just done a podcast episode on it. I love street photography. I'm going to keep saying that. I love it. And you've got photographers like myself who say it's art, it's observation, it's storytelling, but you've also got members of the public now getting really annoyed and saying, why are you pointing cameras at strangers? In fact, we just literally had that at my friend's shop not too long ago. So there was a lady in a car. Well, I wasn't photographing, my friends were. And she was complaining that they were photographing her and she was not, no one was photographing her. I hate to say it to you. As I said to you, my love, you're compositionally not that interesting. And she was really quite rude, threatening to get the superintendent on them, the police. And I was just like, eye roll. Um, by the way, the person they were photographing was somebody who wanted to be photographed. The whole point was he was on the other side of the road painting, and they were trying to photograph him as the buses drove past. So the focus was on him, and everything else would be a blur. But she was kicking off, and it was just no matter how many times that people told her, like legally they were allowed to, they had consent of him. She was adamant it was invasive and it was wrong. Yeah, but the problem is now is that both sides think they're right, okay? They think while legally you can do it, people's tolerance has changed. We live in a world where people are acutely aware that they can create their own image. People can control their online presence and they're aware that they can become content against their will. And this is where I would say that these are people taking control back. And there's been a back. Every time you see someone who's filmed in a bad light, people become more aware of people filming them. So while they might not think they've done anything wrong, they are more aware. So a lot of these so-called Karen videos that come out, people are now conscious that they might be filmed doing stuff. As we see, the video I saw on TikTok, which did shock me, was the photographer on the underground following someone down some steps on a platform. She was filming him because he wouldn't leave her alone, apparently. and he was snapping her the whole way behind her. Then she went onto the carriage and he carried on snapping her. She sat down and carried on snapping. Then he got off, snapped her through the window. And she was like, "Leave me alone." And he was like, "Oh, I'm only taking pictures." I would say that, I mean, it's not an isolated incident, I'd like to think. But then what happened was the pylon happened on TikTok. More people were sharing pictures. More people were talking about stories and incidents they had. And obviously then it came to light that TfL actually requires people to have a permit if they're putting it on a commercial aspect at any point anywhere. And people saying, "Yeah, but I'm not getting paid." Yeah, but if you're putting it on social media under a brand name or under a name, excuse me, it could be counted as content and therefore goes into the grey area of, is it commercial or not? It's how TfL see it. Excuse me while I take a drink because just coughed the wrong way. Possible? Can you cough the wrong way? Gulp. Surely a cough the wrong way would be like a fart. Anyway, my brain, sorry. It's 5 a.m. Leave me alone. Okay. I don't think this shift in photography is random. I don't think it is at all. I think there's some big shifts going on this. I think a lot of it has to do with COVID, where people are going to be educated and had to learn to do things themselves. Social media has definitely changed the purpose of images as well. Images that used to be kept, printed, and remembered are now being shared, reshared, consumed, and ultimately judged. And that's the change. That changes. I think I'll be honest. That changes how they're created. That has changed how people want to be seen. And I also say there are more photos than ever out there, and it has always been like this. I think they're like, I can't remember what the stats were on Instagram, but it's like 1 million a day are uploaded or something silly. Volume has diluted that meaning 100%. So individual photos feel less significant, which means photographers feel pressure to do more, be louder, and stand out faster, which can lead to copying trends and copying other photographers and ultimately loss of originality. Now, there is nothing new under the sun, my friend, as they say. But I do think we are seeing a lot of trends, and I am guilty. At times, I have done the trend, okay? Leave me alone. I've done it because it was fun. I wanted to do it. And as someone who doesn't often follow trends, I thought it was quite unique for me to follow a trend. It proved well for my traction. I think if you are constantly jumping from trend to trend, you don't have a unique voice. But every now and then, if you do a trend, do a trend, is that correct English? If you do partake in a trend, it does stand out a little bit more. I also think we remember clients don't speak photography. They don't care about aperture, lighting ratios, and technical execution. They want to feel something. They want to have an outcome. They want to have the image to be useful. So when photographers start talking in photography terms, clients are really thinking in results, and that's a major disconnect. Okay. Now there are consequences when there's no clarity, you definitely get undervaluing because clients, if they don't understand what you do, they can't value it in their heads properly or in their hearts properly. Okay. If you're talking to them in the wrong terms, you know, if you're trying to talk about, oh, this is a great image for you. No, no, no. Talk to your client. If they're a branding image, talk to them in. We know you want to convert. We know you want to get more clients. This will convert because of X, Y, Z, you know? Like, really, if you want them to see value in it, you need to talk in a way that resonates value with them. Okay. The other thing is, if you're copying all the time, clients don't think you're worth the value because you look like everybody else. They could go to somebody else. Okay. So if you're not standing up for something that's uniquely for you, clients just see you as the regular person. Okay. You're the regular packet of ready salt of crisps they can buy anywhere. You're not the bougie, oven cooked, popped T-bone steak from real T-bone. Do you know what I mean? You're not the unique. I'm trying to think of a crisp then, and as somebody who doesn't actually eat too many crisps, I'm stuck. Stuck. Forgive me. The analogy started great and it fell flat. Okay, but you get what I'm talking about, all right? There's also a frustration because when you say clients don't get it, the reality is you're probably not explaining it clearly enough in terms or in dialogue that would resonate with them. You are speaking not to yourself, you're speaking to a client, and you need to understand with your ideal client how they would speak, how they would talk, what would be interesting to them. Okay? So there has to be a shift here. There are some positive sides, I'll be honest, because this isn't all bad. When industry starts to lose a bit of clarity, it creates space. And with that space, you can define your position. Okay. But I'm not saying, what does define? What does that mean? Right. I'm not talking about fluffy. I'm talking about in a practical sense. If you are documenting, directing, selling, storytelling, pick it up, own it, and communicate that. Be loud about it. Talk about it. Tell them how you did it. I mean, headshots, right? I would say, my client posted this and got this many likes. My client posted this and got this many likes, right? Like, test it out. Put it on. I would put it, if I was a branding photographer, I would take 2 of my headshots and go, which one do you prefer? This one or this one? Okay. Which one catches your eye more? Tell them. And do one that's a basic grey background, same outfit, but then do a creative, slightly creative one and show it. And this is why you pick the photographer, because I'll offer you both because they both have places. You see how now I dare you to go use that. Go use that. Okay. You've got to be clear with your clients. Stop assuming they understand things. Spell it out. This is what I do. This is what I don't do. This is what you'll get. If you're very open, you build trust with them. They go, oh my God, that person knows what they're talking about. I love them. They're amazing. Woo, win for the win. I don't think they all sound like that. Maybe they do. Do your clients? I imagine in my head that's how my clients sound. I told you it was really early in the morning, right? I'm still caffeine free, and right now I'm struggling to be caffeine free. Also, stop trying to be everything. I know it's really cliche to don't try and be everything. You're not a supermarket. You need to niche or niche down, whatever they say. Um, I think a lot of photographers do go wrong. They try and shoot everything and appeal to everybody and follow every trend, and they end up just blending in because you aren't looking at one client and focusing on them, on how they speak, what they want, what they do. Instead, you're like just honed in on doing everything for everybody. And I'll be honest, you're going to miss a lot of it. So you need to actually be better at that. And I will just say, if you're struggling right now, pick out 1 or 2 clients or a client base that really works for you, and just for the time being, focus super heavily on them, because you might find once clients start recognizing the language you're using as something they would use, it builds trust, and with trust will come client sales. Okay. I don't think photography is broken. I think it's just become a little bit undefined, and that makes people uncomfortable because there's no clear rules anymore. I don't think there were many clear rules, but it used to be. If you go back as far as like the Victorian day, photography was for the elite, the wealthy, because it was so expensive. And as we've created cameras, and now we've managed to put cameras in everyone's phones, we've kind of diluted it down who photography is for. And I don't like the fact that there's this elitism to photography. There are certain brands that people say are elite brands and stuff, and I personally don't care for it. For me, I think photography is for everybody. It's just whether you want to create this as a business, you have to understand who you're creating for and what you're creating for and how you're going to do that. So if you decide that you want to show up in this industry, it shouldn't be based on trends and opinions what everyone else is doing, but based on what actually works for you. So be it your work, your clients, or your business model, you actually need to sit there and go, okay, I want to stand out. You don't have to stand out on the top of the mountain, by the way. Okay. We're not aiming for you to be like, I know it sounds really weird for someone on a podcast to sort of say to you, be the best. You want to be ahead of everybody. No, because that's exhausting, lonely, and bad for your mental health to be like this. What I'm going to say is, if you want to run this as a business, you have to, and I've said this numerous times on these podcasts and on my YouTube and on my Instagram when I do my lives. So follow me everywhere. A great time to follow this podcast. You have to understand who your client is. You have to talk to them like a client, not as someone who's got this elite level of knowledge on photography. Look at what your client, what do they want from this imagery? What do they want from this photography? What do they want? What will you provide to them? And talk to them in that same language to them, what they would want to be spoken to. I'm not talking like in baby language, like, oh, little Jonathan, what we're going to do? No one wants that. Be like, hey, so you're talking about you're relaunching a brand. Okay, so let's not use the imagery that you had before because that looks like you haven't changed. You're relaunching. Let's go strong, heavy, and hard. What are your brand colors? What's your new office space look like? Okay, you haven't got an office space. Okay, what's your ideal looking office space? What do you want to wear? What products? Where are we going with this? Who's your ideal client? What do their imagery look like? Let's go. And just doing that a little bit more, because now we are no longer talking to people who just want a pretty picture. They want more. And we ourselves have a right to, have a right. We should be educating ourselves more to understand our client. I think that's the biggest deal. A lot of us are still stuck thinking we just need to create pretty pictures for our clients. Our client's mindset has changed throughout the entire board, okay? And if anything, the fact that now we have wedding content creators is the clear sign of that. And I love a good content creator. I don't like one that just follows me around and just photographs what I'm photographing. I want to see someone actually doing that job properly, because when I do it, I go do my own thing. But I want to see that more. And I'm all for people like recognizing that the client mindset has changed. All right. So I'm going to leave this one with you. When people book you, what are they actually paying you for? And it's not a vague answer, it's a real one. Because if you can't answer that clearly, that might be where the problem starts. Because it is never just to have pretty pictures. This has been the Loud Lens. I've been Khandie, and I am probably going to go have some sleep now. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Don't forget you can recommend episodes to me. And follow me on all the platforms because your girl has an ego that needs fluffing. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you all soon. Or abuse you in your eardrums soon. Maybe that's a more appropriate one. Bye.